And welcome everyone to the second semi-final day of the International Wildcard Invitational. My name is Julian Pastry Time Car. It's bright and early here in Sydney, but we're very excited to be bringing you coverage of our second semi here. Let's have a look at the bracket though to see how we got here and what to expect moving into the grand final in 2 days' time. Hard Random with a huge win yesterday, 3-0ing the Brazilians in a clean sweep and taking INTZ out of the contention for the title. And of course, our second semi-final is there. Supermassive Esports going to be taking on Saigon Jokers for that second, and we'll see, of course, who is going to get to face Hard Random in that top section of the final. So, of course, the slot is that spot in MSI, which is a huge win for any team to try and collect. We'll see if they can get it here. Of course, joining me on the desk once more for an awesome day is Tim Carbon Wendell and Lucio Soul Strikes Park. I have two great junglers and Alice here with me. Boys, you were awesome yesterday. How are we feeling today?
Yeah, like you said, it's pretty early, but very excited for the games. I think it'll be a pretty good series today, actually.
Yeah, I'm very excited and just can't wait.
Well, we'll have to see what happens, so we can break down the game a little bit more. Like we said, two pretty different teams here as the Supermassive Esports from Turkey will be taking on the Saigon Jokers from Southeast Asia. Let's have an overall look at how these teams are and see exactly how sort of their styles are looking. Let's start on the Supermassive side. They will be our blue side team, and they were our first seed here coming into the top 4. What are we looking at when we see these guys play, and what have we thought of their overall tournament performance as well?
I think their overall tournament performance has been very good. I mean, I think Hard Random got off to a flyer, but other than those guys, I think by the end, Supermassive honestly looked like the strongest team in this tournament. Nauru has been playing a pretty great tournament. Dumbledoge, obviously, standout player. Can't wait to see him in action today. But then Archu, Stomaged, and Thaldrin have also had a really solid showing. So definitely the favourite, definitely deserving of the first place. We'll have to see how they go today.
Very well balanced team. They play around their mid laner and they can get advantage with Dumbledoge help and yeah, just get the advantage they need. Then steamroll through and just go for the win.
Yeah, is it safe to say that they've been playing pretty solid League of Legends more than anything else? Because I look at them play and I am impressed by certain moments, but they don't have a huge amount of flair like maybe Hard Random or even the Saigon Jokers do. Is it just safe to say that they may play a bit standard, maybe even a bit boring at times, but it's clearly very effective. They're just a very well-oiled machine.
Well, yeah, I don't know if boring necessarily is the right term. I think they obviously know the meta very well. They don't really stray from it very much other than Dumbledoge, who is like the big standout player here. I think he obviously has some pretty wacky things that he does and also a pretty wacky play style. Very effective though, very exciting to watch. The rest of the team though, the other 4 just seem like very solid, very standard. They know what their job is before they game and they just do their best to execute.
Well, we'll see. On the Saigon Joker side, of course, that will be their opponent. So we'll have a look at them now and think about how their style is. What have we thought of this team? Because this team is real different in some cases, but they've been a joy to watch all tournament long. They had such a good group stage, very nearly taking close to the top spots, but unfortunately could only finish 4th with maybe a bit of a stumble towards the end. Yeah,
they did drop a few games towards the end. Kind of in the middle, we thought that maybe at the start we didn't think they were going to be great, and then they won a couple big games, namely against Supermassive, and then we thought, oh wow, maybe these guys are for real. Unfortunately, they dropped a few towards the end. Look, I still think they're a very good team. What's interesting about them is that they run 2 threats in a 3-threat meta. And then the thing that makes that even more interesting is that one of those 2 threats is actually the lowest priority person on their team as far as gold goes. So very different style to every other team in the tournament, but I think that's what will make this game so interesting.
Yeah, they actually really surprised me coming into this tournament. I expected them to do come 5th or 6th, but they actually surprised me, showing a performance, showing up big.
Well, that's unfortunately the Chiefs' job there. So looks like he's got to finish top 4. See how they can get things done. Let's have a close look at some of the key players on these teams. So we'll start on the Turkish side once again with Supermassive Esports. Let's start with the easy one. In fact, maybe it's the one you're not thinking of. Let's start with their star player, Nauru. And I say star player with maybe a hint of what's to come because I think it can be a little different sometimes. But this guy, he's been such a strong mid laner in his region for so long. He's got good international experience. Naru's just been a beast. How have we thought of him so far?
I mean, Naru's been a great player for a really long time. I think every wildcard I've ever seen him in, he's performed well, and this tournament is no exception. I think what is really interesting about Naru is that He makes a lot of flashy plays in the team fight. You see him doing a lot of damage, but actually his KDA is quite poor. He only has a 2.8 KDA, and he tends to die a lot. I think for the tournament, he has something like 28 kills and 25 deaths. When he's playing, it seems like he's expending all his health. He's willing to die to win the team fight. He just flies straight into the back line. Will try and get as many people low as possible, but he's more than happy to die if that means the team wins. The other thing is he only has 53% kill participation. So in these team fights, he's not hitting everybody. He's not sticking around to the end of the team fight when the support and the tank dies. He's just running full steam into the enemy team on LeBlanc, double W, straight on the back line, instantly getting killed, and then his team will clean up off the damage he does. So look, he's had a good tournament, maybe not as good statistically as we would have expected from such a star player. However, the impact he's having is amazing.
Yeah, and his most played champs are Azir and LeBlanc, so we expect a lot from his LeBlanc, but his Azir, he does play it quite aggressively, going for the QW flashy play, then
Shurima Shuffle.
Yeah, Shurima Shuffle. Yeah, just really odd way of playing Azir, but it makes it work because the stats show that he does a lot of damage.
Is aggressive fair with Nari? Because I feel like I've seen this man go in on Lissandra. He likes to die face with LeBlanc. Like if you're going in consistently with Azir to try and win a team fight by hitting the back line as like a long range kind of zoning control mage, I feel like maybe Nari's he's the guy that loves to get in there. He would actually fit very well in our region, I'd say.
Yeah, he probably would. Yeah, look, it is a bit of an interesting play style, especially with the types of champions he plays. But I think, he dies. He tends to die a lot, and he's rarely in team fights. But at the same time, he's still doing 25% of his team's total damage. So it's like he's never there, but when he is there, he just blows people up.
High impact gaming, perhaps. I like it from Nara. Let's, of course, look at the other star, and I do mean star here, certainly for this guy. Dumbledore. What a man, what a player. We've seen him before. He is the Faker Slayer. He's been playing awesome this tournament, and there's no player quite like the Doge, it feels like.
Absolutely. So exciting to watch. I cannot wait to see this guy in action yet again. He just makes support look like a completely different role, you know. We've said it a number of times, and what's funny is that he's often the same XP as the jungler, but he's basically a jungle support, right?
Yeah.
He spends so little time in the lane. He's just roaming around looking for kills. I mean, he's playing Elise. Just let him take smite. Just go counter jungle. Like, honestly, you might as well.
Yeah, just plays a lot of Bard, Elise, and Poppy. A lot of base damage, percentage health, damage support. Yeah, he's just really fun to watch. Just can't wait what he's going to bring.
Don't you trick me. I saw him building more of Malmortius.
Oh.
He's not going for the high base damage, low econ champions. This man's getting all the kills.
No, he's not. Look, I want to touch on the Elise a little bit. I mean, he's obviously had some success with it locally. He did win one game on the Elise during the group stage, but we've seen it twice now, and I find it quite underwhelming, to be honest. I mean, Elise has, what does she have, like 7 spells, including her ult, and she has 1 utility spell.
Yeah,
she has 1 stun, right? So, look, I think he's a great player, but I don't want to see him playing the Elise. I think, the novelty is worn off. Everybody kind of knows what it does. He's just going to try and kill you in lane, and if he doesn't kill you in lane, he's going to get caught for the rest of the game. I mean, he does have Repel, I suppose, which kind of helps with that, but I would much rather see him on something like the Poppy or the Bard. I think today's support matchup is going to be really interesting because his opponent is really the only support player at this tournament who is playing the kind of the global meta champs, where this tournament has had its own meta in support. We've seen a lot of Bard, we've seen a lot of Thresh, Time Kench's even made a comeback. But globally, the meta is much more along the lines of Ali and Braum.
And
Trundle, right. And we haven't seen any of those really this tournament. We've seen a few Ali games. So I think Dumbledore absolutely has to step up today if their team wants to win. But lucky for Supermassive, he's been stepping up all tournaments. So.
Yeah. He has. He's been looking good. Saul, what do you think of Dumbledore? He's such a fun player to watch. What are your thoughts on his play throughout the tournament? Whether it's his champ or whether it's just how crazy he likes to get with playmaking.
Well, I do expect a Bard ban, so he's going to play something along the line, Poppy or Elise, but I just want to see something big from him.
Do you think he has a pocket pick ready to go? I feel like the Doge, he's got to have deep pockets. We've only seen him in best of ones. He's already gone off the deep end with the support Elise. I feel like there has to be one or two in the pockets ready to go.
Yeah, definitely. We could see him. Well, he did play Thresh last game.
True.
So
They're
Yeah,
champions. That's way too normal.
Yeah.
Unexcited by that. Unexcited. But definitely been a fun player to watch, and he does make the plays. He's got some pretty insane first blood rate as well, I think, so definitely been doing work for his time. Let's move over, though, to the Southeast Asia side and have a look at Saigon Jokers and where their strength is lie. We're actually going to start almost in a place I don't think I expected to coming into this tournament, because this role has been a little bit underrepresented so far, but 80 carries, not too sure where they've all been, but for Saigon Jokers, Celebrity is of utmost importance.
What a beast. I mean, like you said, the 80 carries at this tournament haven't been a standout. I don't think we've really seen any 80 carry really shine in this tournament so far, other than Celebrity. And like I was saying, Saigon Jokers, two-threat team, but the mid laner gets barely any farm. The top laner will always get farm before the mid, even if he's playing something like the Maokai. So we have basically a one-threat comp. And it's all on Celebrity, but he absolutely lives up to the task. In the games that they've won, he goes off with huge plays. He does about 30% of his team's damage. And what's interesting about that stat is that he plays mostly Lucian. Now, when you have a big portion of your team's damage, a lot of the time, like we saw with Mikau yesterday, that can come because you're playing stuff like Jinx, stuff like Siva, and Ezreal. Yep. You know, poke damage and AoE damage kind of inflates your damage stat a little bit. But when you're playing something like Lucian and you're still doing that much damage, it's really a testament to this guy's ability. He gets a lot of resources. I think he's had, 4 triples and a quadra so far in this tournament. So, I mean, he's having an absolutely magnificent tournament by the 80 carry standards. I think, for my money, definitely the best 80 carry in, well, the best performing 80 carry, at least, in this tournament. I'm sure maybe some of these other guys have potential. I don't want to write them all off. But he is absolutely paramount to Saigon Jokers winning this game.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to see he prioritized the Lucian and the Kalista. Just really interested to see what happens if Supermassive does target ban him, because he is the star of the team. So it'll be very interesting to see where we go from there.
I think one thing to note with him, though, as a weakness, is that when he doesn't get the Lucian, I mean, he had a great game on the Sivir as well, but when he doesn't get either of these two champions, he tends to struggle. I mean, Kalista is a great lane champ, but she's not so great for like a 1v5 carry, you know what I mean? If you don't win lane with Kalista, yes, she's mobile, but she's so short range that it's really easy to pick her off. So I'm with Lucio on this one. I think that if they do look to target ban Celebrity and put him on the Kalista, I mean, so far he's played Kalista twice and lost them both. So I think that's a pretty big weakness that Supermassive could maybe prey on.
And it's kind of interesting as well, because you look at these two teams, and we just talked about 2 key players from them. This bottom lane might actually be the first ever 1v1 bottom lane with 2 people watching on. Except usually it's the supports that are spectating, but it actually might be Dumbledore's support versus an AD carry for that early 2v2. What do you think of maybe the potential there in the bottom lane if standard lanes do eventuate?
I mean, if they do manage to get standard lanes, like you touched on earlier, Supermassive have had first blood in 6 of their 8 games, but their bot lane actually has the lion's share of that. And so what we're seeing is that when Double Doge is in lane, he is, as a 2v2, they do tend to 2v2 their opponent quite regularly, which is huge in competitive LoL. But conversely, when these two played each other last, Celebrity ended up the game 13-2. Not single-handed carrying, but had an absolutely huge performance. Look, well, I think the big thing here is the way these two kind of styles in the bot lane clash, and that is that Dumbledore wants to get out of the lane ASAP to try and influence the map, to try and do his counter jungling thing, which is very effective, as we've seen, versus other teams. However, Su, his opponent, he just wants to sit in lane. He just wants to pick Ali or pick Braum, sit next to Celebrity, make sure Celebrity gets to his 4 items. Celebrity's just going to have fun farming. I mean, Achu has played a lot of Ezreal in this tournament so far. He played Ezreal the last time these two teams played against each other. So I think one really important thing to watch out for you guys at home is that if you see Dumbledore roaming and they leaving Ezreal in the lane, that's actually really bad, because Dumbledore absolutely has to make something work, and if he doesn't, Celebrity is going to carry this game.
So I know you've actually been pretty curious about all the teams' map movement and macro play around the tournament. Just quickly, what do you think of maybe the bottom lane potentially opening up a lot of that? Because they don't necessarily want or need to lane swap, but Dumbledore's leaving the lane seems to be fairly crucial. Do you think Supermassive against Saigon Jokers, there's maybe a mismatch perhaps in the early stages of the game, just at a macro level?
Yeah, so Supermassive, they should definitely look for a lane swap. So that will open that. that means they'll get the tower and they will open the map up. Which means Dumbledore can afford to go roam and do whatever Dumbledore does. On the other hand, Saigon Jokers, they actually want to 2v2, so they should definitely look and hunt down Achu and Dumbledore for the standard lane and dominate them.
And they've had pretty safe-looking lanes, but very good-looking farm, and for the most part, never really seen behind in their lanes. So interesting 2v2 there. We'll have to watch for it as the games move on. But, of course, we have another player to look at here on the Saigon Joker side, and it is, of course, their mid laner. We looked at Naru on the Supermassive end. Levita has been surprisingly strong all to win. He's almost a quiet underachiever, or overachiever, I'll say. Not underachiever. That'd be bad.
Levita's had a good tournament. I mean, we can't talk about one 80 carat. We can't talk about one mid laner without talking about the both of them. They do have two mid laners, but we'll start with Levita. And look, Levita has had a great tournament. He's been playing a lot of utility. He's played 3 list games, 2 TF games. He's had great performances on most of them. He has a fantastic KDA, the highest of both these two teams. He doesn't tend to get a lot of kills, but he has a ton of assists, and that really fits in well with these guys' style. Basically, he's there to set up for Celebrity to KS, get that sweet 300 straight back to the bank, cash it in for some wicked long swords. But he's had a good tournament so far, and it's going to be really important that he has a good match today.
Yeah, and him and Jinky actually have a 100% kill participation in the first blood, so it will be very interesting to see how Jinky and Levita works together in the mid lane.
Is it almost fair to say that if one team has 2 junglers, then one team might have 2 supports? Because it does feel like Levita is doing a lot of work just to make sure Celebrity is enabled, like in the nicest possible way, of course.
I think that's relatively accurate, to be honest, because Levita actually is the lowest priority carry, lowest priority farm for carries, for their carries, and they only run 2 threats. So really, they only run 1 threat, so I don't think that's unfair to say at all.
Well, Levita isn't in the lineup today, so we'll have to leave the Warzone chat for another time, but the fans are almost done. As they are into Champ Select, we'll have a look at the draft here and stay with us. Well, these are 2 lovely analysts for this one. Braum, Alistar, Twisted Fate, they were the bans for Supermassive, and Azir, Kindred, and Echo, the 3 for Saigon Jokers. Bans are done, boys. What do we like? What do we dislike?
I really think the Azir ban's really interesting from the Saigon Jokers, because Levita is actually, one of his pocket pick is Vel'Koz, and Vel'Koz counters the Azir, so maybe he's not comfortable on picking the Vel'Koz into Azir, so
Maybe not. But
I do think it's interesting that they've double banned support here, taking away the Braum alley. We were saying it in the pre-game that Sue wants to play alley or Braum and just peel for Celebrity, and instead of target banning Celebrity like we thought they might, instead they're targeting banning the support and hoping that they won't be able to get a strong peel support for Celebrity, and that way, while Celebrity has no peel, that's how they're going to kill him, instead of making him play a champion he's a little bit weaker on.
Well, interestingly, there's actually first pick Marco over Supermassive, so they don't take the Graves, which has been a big priority. A lot of key champions are sort of banned away, so there's maybe no obvious first pick here like Echo would sort of be, but Marco's actually kind of an interesting one there. We'll see what Saigon Jokers respond with.
I think not picking the Graves was maybe a mistake here, because Stamaged has played 4 Graves games and 3 Kindred games. So he's played one of those 2 champs in almost every game other than one. And by banning out the Kindred and not taking the Graves, they opened themselves up to a possible Grave steal, and he would have had to play a completely different jungler. They haven't done that.
No, weirdly enough, they've actually done something somewhat predictable, but a little weird. Lucian and Elise are actually their picks, and Poppy Lissandra are the responses here for Supermassive. That should be a Dumbledore Poppy, but you do never know with the Doge. It could go a little crazy. But Saigon Jokers are really just saying, this is how we want to play.
Well, I'm not sure whether or not they took the Elise away to try and get it out of the hands of the Doge. But very interesting early pick there. I don't know why they did that, but they clearly, like you said, have a plan. What do you think about the list takeaway, Lich?
Oh, I think Lissandra is actually really good, because they banned the TF and they took the Lissandra. So now what's Levita's going to play actually? He's actually the TF and the Lissandra main, but that's all gone. So
Vel'Koz into Liss.
Not sure.
Probably not great, as we might see something a little different here. We'd usually see Warzone on the Assassin style picks, although that could go a different lane as well. But Morgana and Fizz are our 3rd and 4th. This is a huge curveball.
I mean, okay, so Morgana makes sense in the with Sue's playstyle.
Yep.
However, she doesn't actually do that much against Liz. I mean, when Liz claws in, all she has to do is get that Ring of Frost down. That's going to break the shield, and then she's instantly going to ult anyway. So Morg is not really a counter to Lissandra. I mean, it's good against Maokai, I suppose, and it's a good heal support, but I don't know. I feel like it's not that great in this meta.
On top of that, Morgana's not really a strong laner, so it doesn't really amplify what Celebrity wants to do. So it's quite an interesting pick, but
I'm actually wondering if it's Levita's champion, but we'll have to see.
Yeah,
I think it might. I think it might be. That would go perfectly with his playstyle. We'll have to see. I mean, it would be weird to leave the counter pick for support, but I've seen stranger things, I suppose.
Yeah, we've definitely seen it this tournament as well, as Kalista and Graves very late into the draft will be the final picks here.
Okay, Kalista Poppy. So maybe they are going to look for that 2v2. I don't know, because Kalista on her own is not great. She's very low range. So we'll have to see what their plan is in game.
Always good to give the Doge an extra tool though. So Kalista definitely working on that front. And we have seen a lot of these style of champions. Although I guess Ezreal was available if Achu wanted to play it. The only question is, what's the last pick here for Saigon Jokers, and what on earth are these lanes?
Well, I mean, I just want to touch on this last pick, Graves. Is this the first time we've seen Graves last picked?
I think so.
I don't think... well, we know Saigon Jokers have very low priority on Graves. I think they banned it only one time. And that was against the Chiefs, who don't play Graves anyway. Yeah. So they've only ever banned it once. So I don't think that they care about Graves, but at the same time, it's strange to see such a high priority champion get so far through the draft.
Yeah, and I think they're hovering over the Kassadin.
Yeah, they're going to pick up by the looks of things. We have two different assassins in these solo lanes. Interesting way to end the draft. And Levita, this isn't really a utility pick, but...
I kind of understand why he wants to pick the Kassadin, because there's a lot of CC from Supermassive. Like, if you play the control mage, let's go half and half. But I'm just going to get blown up by the CC and the AoE effect. If he did pick Ryze, that scenario would have happened. But Kassadin, it's more bit of a safe pick.
Yeah, it's a little bit safer, but I can't say I like it very much. I mean, they don't give him any farm, and he's going to have to sit in the side lane until level 16 now. So that's going to be a completely different change to their play style. I don't know if they can pull it off. I mean, I'm sure that they've practiced it, but from so far what we've seen from them this tournament, it's very unlikely this guy's going to get enough farm to get to level 16.
Well, definitely a different style. We'll have to see if it works out, though, but let's get ourselves onto the Rift. It's a casting desk with Pulse and Froskurin.
Cheers, guys. I'm Pulse here with Froskurin for the first time. Should be a fantastic cast, and also excited to cast this game because a lot of crazy stuff happens in Champion Select. I mean, let's start touching on some of these because, like, a lot of what we thought about coming into this game didn't happen in Champions League. Fizz just came out, and then it ended with Kassadin and just kind of blew my mind.
It was hilarious because the desk really set up this really strong narrative for Supermassive in particular. They like to dive the back line. Naru in particular gets back there. He'll almost trade himself 1-for-1 every single time to kind of kamikaze into back lines, take someone out, and then eject right out. But on the other side, it was the Saigon Jokers that picked up so much backline threat with the Kassadin, with that Fizz going into the top lane. And then on the other side for Supermassive, it was pretty much a game of denial. We talked about how Ro really likes to play kind of more the tanky top laners, at least this tournament. So they have the Maokai pick up initially. They get the Lissandra and banning the Twisted Fate, so a double denial there on the mid laner. And then taking the Kalista, it seemed like Supermassive wanted to take away all of the tools from Saigon Jokers and see, what do you have next?
Yeah, but at the same time, what they didn't take away was the Lucian, and we were also expecting them to put a lot of pressure on Celebrity's champion pool, because so far he's shown what? Lucian, Ezreal, and then Kalista. You put him on like the Kalista, like Carbon was saying, and then you just like nuke him in team fights with Lissandra. Anyway, we're into game, guys. First game of this best of 5, Supermassive up against Saigon Jokers. We'll see how this series turns out. But already, if you're just joining us, we have a lot of interesting picks coming into this tournament. And not only have we kind of created like a mini meta here, we've created a mini meta within this best of 5. So I just want to see how this one evolves.
My favorite part is the fact that Elise is being taken as a priority pick in a denial against a support. Let's just emphasize that one. Dumbledore
That's it.
Got Saigon Jokers to second rotate Elise over Graves, who's been the massive priority this entire tournament, to make sure that he can't play it in the bot lane.
Last rotation Graves. But Saigon Jokers just really haven't cared about the Graves for the entire tournament, and have actually just been like, well, you know what, we're just going to pick Gragas, and that's fine. So one of the only teams who really does that.
I I was actually really shocked that they didn't prioritize the Gragas, especially because it was a first pick Maokai. And if you have to think, the big counter to Maokai for a long time, if you go all the way back to 2014, was actually the Janna. It's the disengage, it's the reset. And Jinky has been one of the only junglers throughout the tournament that really has prioritized that Gragas and utilized him very well with the cask. And it would just have synergized so beautifully with denying Thaldrin from getting onto that backline and denying a lot of this damage.
I think so too, but this is also a composition which makes sense for the individual players, but doesn't make sense for what they've been running for the rest of the tournament. They're a very like teleport-based team, and it was like we're playing around Celebrity. Ro is gonna like eclipse his opponent in CS, and that's gonna be fine. But now he's playing Fizz, mid lane is playing Kassadin, Celebrity's on his Lucian, so that's okay in my mind. At least that makes sense to me. So now we have Achu and Dumbledore coming down to this bot lane.
They're actually checking to see which side the enemy jungler started on, and now Su doesn't connect.
Yeah, doesn't land in this one. Jinky, he may be interrupted by
Stomaged.
Yeah, Stomaged here. The Q comes out, end of the line. Jinky dropping low and looking for that flash. He flashed away from. Doesn't land those pellets, but he's just going to simply walk up, steal the red buff, and peace out. I was not expecting that start to the game.
Well, the punishing fact is the punishing thing is the fact that Jinky doesn't have his smite available, so he wasn't able to A, secure the red buff, but also recoup a lot of that heal with the smite.
The classic, what did he start? He started Merc Wolves into red buff invade, and now takes away Raptors as well.
But this is why Graves has been such a high priority pick this tournament. Not only his amazing burst damage, he's going to synergize beautifully with Lissandra, which we can talk about that as soon as they hit level 6, but also because he just jungles so much more effectively and quickly than Elise. Yes, Elise is still considered a viable jungler, but comparatively to Kindred, Nidalee, and Graves, she's slow.
For sure, definitely in the tier 2 of those jungle picks. And Stomaged, he's heading down here, probably going to take this crab, but he's been all over Jinky to start off the game, level 3, and now because he's on the strong side of the map with Dumbledore's and Achu, they're going to go into the jungle and just clear this one up. And because he got the Razor Sharp buff off the Raptors, they clear away the vision as well. This is just ridiculous. Like, there's nothing Jinky can do here. He's level 2, his bot lane can't react, they were too slow to the punch, and Celebrity just wants to carry on farming, and Stomage just triple buff Jinky 3 minutes in.
Yeah, he's looking for the quadruple buff as you see Jinky skittering as fast as he can to try to salvage something from this disaster of an early game for the Saigon Jokers.
Yeah, he's going to try and get this blue buff, and luckily Thaldrin was just pushed in by Ro, so there's not going to be pressure here.
And that's the big thing, like you said, the fact that Ro was able to get the pressure on Maokai, force the back, which means that Stomage and Maokai can't collapse on and keep him from getting this blue buff.
Well, thank God, because Jinky really needs this. He needs something. But he's still level 2. This is not going to be the best clear. There you go. And then maybe we go crab after that. Now, Stomage is going to take his own red buff, and all was right with the world. So mid lane as well that we've been talking about. Naru, level 4 right now, so we're looking at that level 6. As you mentioned, got that dank synergy with Graves and Lissandra. That's not even the right thing.
Lissandra.
I just want to see Syndra. That's all I want.
I can tell.
Yeah.
You know, that would be an excellent skin. No, but the really cool thing about Lissandra versus Graves is they're level 4, the closer that they get to level 6, is that Graves is one of the few junglers right now that can 100 to 0 someone within the duration of the Frozen Tomb. It's the very same concept of when Kha'Zix was really potent and powerful, but Lissandra was also powerful in the meta because you Frozen Tomb someone, Kha'Zix would come in, blow them up, jump away. Graves gets to do that same thing, so we'll see if Naru feels that pressure or if the Rift Walk will save him.
Yeah, it would be nice if they could try and get that level 6 before Levita hits his own level 6, because Rift Walk will be a nice tool against that, plus his own flash, but doesn't really want to be burning that right now. Both mid laners also use their TPs just to get back to lane, so really just a farming lane right now, and Naru will place down that pink off to the side in this lane. Go for that Corrupting Potion to start as well.
Yeah, and that makes sense that Kassadin's going to prioritize the Corrupting Potion, whereas Lissandra prioritized the Ruby Crystal for the health, simply because Kassadin, right now as a melee champion against a ranged champion pre-level 6, is effectively trading health for CS.
And in the top lane, we also have another Corrupting Potion, but with the Dark Seal, seeing that more this tournament
So
on a
punishing.
variety of different champions.
Yeah, it's a procket.
It's super nice. I even saw it on Maokai throughout this tournament as well, and it just makes sense. Like, actually having that sustain in the early game, and just the fact that you're a tank and don't really die, means you can punch pretty hard. Ro is going to be trading off very briefly.
I really like the decision-making from Thaldrin right there. He makes sure that he clears his initial enemy creep wave, and then he immediately goes in because his creeps are automatically going to start targeting Fizz during the duration of the Twisted Advance. It's these small little chipping maneuvers that just gain you a slight advantage in the trades.
And it's so rare that Maokai really gets the upper hand in a matchup like this, so it was just nice clarity from Faldron to find that. And clearing out this pink ward. A lot of pings going down from Saigon Jokers. That is your tower. That is your inner tower that Jinky is walking towards.
I think it's more so, help team, my jungle's been warded,
Yeah.
help team.
I mean, look at this. It's just being straight up lit up. I mean, there's nowhere that Jinky can go in his top jungle that isn't just going to be seen out by Supermassive. And Stormage going into the bottom side now. Jinky, he's going to try a lane gank, but the level 6 is there from Ro and not from Faldron. He's going to go in, but he doesn't know that Eliza's here. Repel comes up, goes to that minion, which is still alive. So many flashes being burnt, but Faldron should be going down. There is no escape. He's just going to try and waste some time. And that's first blood over to the Fizz.
So well executed by Ro right there to make sure that he connected with the fish. I think it was a bit mismanaged from Faldron. I assume he tried to dodge with the Twisted Advance, but it was too little too late. Lands the ultimate, gets a nice follow-up from the Elise there, and Jinky's right back in this game.
Yeah, I think he wanted to just advance to a minion, but then realized, Rutro, there's actually no minions near me, and then just got hit by the fish. And was just
Now
like,
in
well, this
response.
sucks. With Visa, he's going to find Storm Age, and he's going to jump onto him, but Suze there, he needs to land a binding. Nice sidestep from Graves, and he'll back away. Doesn't mean they'll take down the pink and get vision control over this area, but realistically, they can't go for the dragon, and Saigon Jokers just responded with Herald anyway.
Really well communicated from the Saigon Jokers there to understand that, okay, Jinky's now revealed himself in the top lane. Chances are that Graves is going to go on the offensive. We have the push and the superior 2v2 in the bottom lane right now. Let's collapse on, just check where he's at, find a pink one, find the Graves, and then open up space for Rift Herald to be taken across map. So really well executed on both fronts from the Saigon Jokers.
Yeah, for sure. And Jinky, all he wants is his red buff. And Stone Mage and Faldron just going in for the invade. As soon as he gets in range for Twisted Advance, he's just dead. So there's nothing he can do.
Yeah, but the really important thing is the fact that Naru got the push onto Levita to keep casted and locked down. So in response, Supermassive say, okay, all of our players are back in lane. We've reset the map. Let's go on the offensive again. So not willing to back down and making sure that they keep the pressure on Jinky.
Yeah, these pre-setup plays are just really nice to see from Supermassive. And just because they have those winning lanes as well, or at least in mid lane, there's nothing that Levita can do right now in that 3 versus 3. Stone Mage back into the mid lane. It's going to be sieging this one down. Only got a couple minions, so it's just chip damage.
Remember that burst damage we were talking about post level 6? Look at the respect that Levitia has to give to Graves and Lissandra being there. If he gets locked up by the Frozen Tomb, there is a potential that you don't survive the duration of that for a Rift Walk.
Yeah, even if he's near the tower, because it's just instant damage and instantly going to get popped down. Levita going to head over to his blue buff, but there could be a Graves nearby. So he's going to be cautious about this one.
Yep, the important thing is now look at the bottom side of the map. Celebrity and Sue making sure that they're covering Jinky and Levitia, pushing forward so that Callista and Dumbledoge cannot respond.
But that means that this middle tower is actually probably just going to go down. I mean, Jinky's only just hit level 6 now. That's the Cocoon. Somehow managed to get that past the minions.
Oh, burn it.
Yeah, Well, at least the tower's surviving for now, but one more push, and it's also forcing Jinky to stay in mid lane as well.
Yeah, it's really nicely played from... I mean, Saigon Jokers have had good counter plays to kind of get their foot back into the game, but so far, Supermassive, they've just been playing with so much map pressure. Dumbledoge.
Going in, going out.
Just sending a message.
Yeah. I mean, that is Dumbledoge. He likes the Puffy, he likes a lot of different champions. As you were mentioning, the Elise as well has been one of his staples, which is very rare to say in the support world throughout this tournament and just in general. But Dumbledoge does like to make the plays. Something the analyst Stats was talking about was Dumbledoge is prone to try and make players go to other lanes and try and snowball those, and he's just a carry in his own right. But in this game, he's actually been staying down there to try and shut down Celebrity, which I like, because Celebrity is the backbone of Saigon.
No, you're absolutely right. It's that adaptation of recognizing, okay, so we gave this guy the Lucian because we chose to prioritize taking power away from the other lanes. Let's just neutralize Celebrity by keeping it in a 2v2 and allow organic leads through our jungle, through our mid lane, through our top lane to succeed. And frankly, it actually has worked. Yes, Ro was ahead in the top lane because of the early kill on Maokai, but Jinky is still behind Stomaged. I am so sorry, Stomaged.
Yep.
I'll get it one day.
Yeah, one of us will.
And it's It's creating these small spaces where Supermassive are able to get continuous chip damage across the map, not just on the mid-tier tower, but bot-tier tower, contesting buffs. And we'll see if like this organic lead will continue to spiral. Right now, they are behind on gold, but it's simply that first blood.
For sure, and Levita back into this mid lane. Just going to jump on Naru. I mean, Naru uses E and Q, so he's going to get a small punish here. But Jinky, he's found the pink ward, so there's not going to be a kill. Just means they'll have the pressure to take down the Vision. Su and Celebrity, he's going to back away. Dumbledore was thinking about taking that pink, didn't really want it. Achu in the bot lane trading off, but that's a lot of damage coming in from Celebrity. Soul Shackles is going to proc up. He's going to flash away. Dumbledore may have to give his life here. Fate's Call will drag him in and throw him back into the fray. Now with Lissandra coming in looking for a kill, but Celebrity's going deep. He picks up that one, and that's a Q over to Naru. Make that a 1-for-1, and Su backs away.
Best case scenario when you trade 1-for-1, especially getting the teleport cooldown. Levidia could not follow. His TP's not up and available, but he will get extra damage. And again, that's the best case scenario for Celebrity. 3 people, I took down 1 with me.
Now, Jinky looking to make a play in the top lane. That has been pre-warded by Faldron. He knows something is up. This is a Maokai, so this will be difficult, but connects the fish at point-blank range. A nice dodge out of Cocoon with the W out there from Faldron. Ro gets the aggro off. Jinky drops low. Stormage into the top lane will be able to stop the collateral damage. Isn't quite enough to finish off Ro. Mid lane trade now. E comes out from Naru. Levita isn't able to follow up on Dumbledore's. Of course he's in the mid lane. Why wouldn't he be? But that top lane gang just didn't work out for Saigon.
So well executed by Faldron there, and it's just like you said, using the twisted advance to make sure that he can dodge underneath the Cocoon. And the thing is a dive like that, yes, it's on a Maokai, but it's with an Elise and a Fizz. These champions have so many tools to play with tower aggro. The E from Fizz, I always call it the troll pole, as well as the repel from Elise, also E. Interesting. Yeah. But unfortunately not able to make that one connect, and it was just outplayed, styled on.
Pretty much. I mean, Faldron knew something was up because he pre-warded and was ready for this gank to happen and knew the tools that Saigon had. But yeah, you're right. Like, they had all of these tools that should have been so perfect in that scenario, but Faldron just straight up with the outplay and the 1v2. Luckily, no kills went down, but it was a lot of time from Jinky, and Jinky's really hard-pressed in this game to just make a play happen because he's so far behind, hasn't really been able to farm. There's no way he's going to catch up to farm from Stone Mage. And Jinky's just destroying him in the mid lane. First tower goes down over to Supermassive.
And again, that tower going down is, like you said, is all because of this pressure that's been put on Jinky, because he can't show up 2v2 to these lanes because he's already down. If Stomaged is there, it's already a losing matchup.
And that's kind of just the story of Saigon's comp, right? Like, they're a composition which just needs time to turn on. And usually they're this team which is just like, we'll go for the counterattack. But if you don't have the power to go for the counterattack, you're just like taking punches all game. And that's what's been happening so far. It's
also where the power for their counterattack is right now weighted. And it's not in Jinky's hands. It's in Ro, it's in Levidia, and it's in Celebrity.
Well, Levita not in a good position right now. And the ultimate lands from Naru. He'll have to flash away. So the flash burnt there. Was anything used by Supermassive? Just the ultimate. Ro in the top lane in this 1v1. And Stomage is there, lands the Q onto the Graves. And a preemptive ultimate out from Graves will mean that he won't be able to get in range to follow up onto Ro. Jinky was also there, but the sapling will find him, so they're aware of this 2v2. But with all of Supermassive heading up, they may be able to collapse. They may be a little too slow. Dumbledore not looking for the tower dive just yet.
Reminder that Morgana Su is also heading up, and Kassadin has TP available. So if Supermassive look for the dive here, numbers advantage actually to Saigon Jokers.
Yeah, a bot mission here, I think. Faldron will just want to back away with both of them trunked already from that trade. And currently in this game, 14 minutes in, had a lot of action though. 1-2 currently. Kills in advance to Saigon, but Supermassive definitely have the tempo in this game just from how Stomage by himself has been playing and putting down the pressure on these lanes and on Jinky. I want to take a look at the bottom lane though, as Faldron just lands a bit of damage onto Ro in the top lane, but the AD carries is really where it's at, because Achu and Dumbledore have been staying in that lane trying to shut down Celebrity, and really that's just resulted in a one-wave differential. So Celebrity is not going to be shut down, but I'm just concerned about the rest of his team getting the time to turn online.
Again, it's like you said, he's not shut down, but he's neutralized. He didn't get the big carry that he needed. Yes, he has the kill, but Achu now looking for the aggressive. Has Fate's Call.
Now Call comes out, and there's the Ren. So Celebrity would drop low. Su goes in, but there's no help from Celebrity just yet. Should be the blue buff going over as well. So yeah, just a lot of pressure in that bottom lane. And neutralize is a great word for it. And should be picking up this one. Okay.
This could be a little bit scary though.
Yeah, they really want this pink. So he's lining up for that Q. That was fantastic with the Martial Poise. Jinky coming into the bot lane, but here comes the TP. Dumbledoze is trying to get in there. Stomage as well. Jinky, he just goes into the backline. What are you doing? He just goes down. And Ro now into this fight. 4 versus 4. Ro trying to back away. Levita's going to drift walk over the wall. Naru finally comes into the bottom lane, but that's just an easy 1-0 to Supermassive.
Yep, 2 TPs burned as well, whereas Naru just got to simply casually walk down. His TP will be up and available within a few seconds, so a big window of opportunity for Supermassive to make a cross-play map in the 5-minute timer that Ro and Levidia's will be done. But Jinky, like you said, dives into the backline. This poor guy is only level 9, doesn't have a lot of items, immediately blows up, no jungle, free dragon.
Yeah, that play was, really janky. I think he just felt that he was Gragas and was just like, I can take damage. I can't take damage. And
I
then
don't,
he was
I don't have a W.
That just didn't go well.
These spiderlings don't help.
No. Well, it does against Graves, but not when there's a whole team there and they're just going to blow you up. 2-2 currently. Supermassive. Even in kills, but definitely ahead in this game. Got a couple items being completed. Naru and his opponent are both going for that Rod of Ages, looking probably for Abyssal now. Picked up the Blasting Wand, and now bot being pushed in. Achu, just standard build all over the board, really. Not seeing anything that's jumping out at me. Faldrim going for a lot of components, went for the Barmies, but of course now over to the Spirit Visage because he's up against that triple AP threat.
Yeah, like you said, goes for the early pushing power by having the Bomb Cinder as well as the initial health, and immediately into the Spirit Visage because it's a mostly AP composition. But a big thing was, going into that last team fight, he technically had kind of 2 forms of resistance that's going for him, as there's Naru's TP that we were talking about. Here's this window of opportunity.
He's trying to go in. Celebrity doesn't have his flash here, and ultimate out from Stone Mage. Naru wants to get in range. The flash, the W, the ultimate, the double kill over to Supermassive.
And this was all set up by the fact that the Saigon Jokers burned both teleports in that last engagement and got nothing for it. In fact, lost an objective. Naru knows that he has the advantage, pulls the trigger on it, and like you said, Supermassive, they've set the pace for this game, and they're not slowing down.
Yeah, what a great setup to that player as well. Just forcing them back with Dumbledore and Achu, forcing the flash, and then forcing the engage as well. Just fantastic. Bot lane tower goes down, 2 over to Supermassive so far in this game, and Saigon are just kind of falling apart, and I kind of have to start questioning the draft as well. It just seemed really weird. Like, what? First rotation at least, then you draft Fizz into the mid lane, and then it's just like, no, we're going to go Kasten now, put it in top lane.
Well, Carbon said it on the desk. The Saigon Jokers effectively play a 2-carry system and a 3-carry meta. And this time around, they actually have the true 3 carries, but they're falling apart at the seams. Ro has a very high kill participation. They're big on teleport flanks. They like to use the double TP, and it's not that Fizz and Kassadin can't, but they don't have a tank. They don't have a front line. With Jinky falling so behind and not having the Gragas that he likes to prioritize, and Ro being, he's kind of that tank Fizz, but not fully up and online yet, it's not how they usually like to play, and it kind of feels like the over-denial may have punished them. So the idea is, if Saigon Jokers get their game, they play it well, but can they play anything else?
I feel the same. Faldrin with that first pick Maokai, I really feel like put a wrench in the works, and Saigon, I want them to play their game because they did so well in the round robin up against Supermassive, and that was just them playing their game as well. Ro's going to jump into the top lane. E lands onto Achu. That's just a simple kill before this fight starts off. Fate's Call goes in, but I think Dumbledore wants out with 4 people in the top lane now. That was a 1-0 over to Saigon. Just these messy picks all over the board.
Again, the bright spot on the map for Saigon Jokers is still going to be Ro. He did get that early kill against Thaldrin in the top side, still managing to make plays. Is going to be the tank Fizz, though, so we'll start to see that damage kind of teeter off as this game goes longer and longer.
Still 3 people in the top lane from Saigon. And Su will just he'll just walk up and he'll Soul Shackles and lands the Q anyway. Jinky's looking to go in here, but Celebrity's going to deal the damage. Stomach, he just simply can't get in range and gets cold. Jinky with the kill. That was the weirdest play I think I've ever seen.
I'm frankly shocked that worked.
Yes.
I mean, effectively, Su walked up. They both... I mean, I guess here's the idea. It forces Graves to burn his gap closer, so it means that he has no dodging potential on the Dark Binding. So good confidence, I guess, of saying, I'm going to force him to burn that, and then I'm going to bind him anyway.
I'm just going to walk up slowly and ult you. And, that just kind of blew my mind, Frosk. I don't know what I just witnessed.
Casual stroll?
Yeah, but it worked, so I mean, I can't criticize it. My skill over to Saigon, I guess. Double Doge and Achu into the top lane.
It's like when Olaf ganks your lane, like Jungle Olaf walks in, throws axe, misses. walks away. Like, doesn't even pick up the axe, just leaves it in the lane. And you're like, oh, okay.
This is yours now. This is the monument to my failed gank. And Ro, he's farming up a Storm still. But this is not really the Ro Horizon that we've been seeing, because usually he just like dumpsters his lane and gets this ridiculous CS lead. It's been reflected in those 2 kills, but it's usually also in CS, and especially in like a winning matchup. We just haven't seen it this game, but this is not being a conventional game by any means, by any stretch of the imagination. Baron is now Vivo, and Jinky is heading up into this top lane for another gank. And we've just kind of gone Australia lanes. I mean, it's 20 minutes in, 21 minutes. Why not just go for a lane swap now?
We call them inverted lanes, excuse you.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. My bad. When I go back to EU, I'll carry on calling them Australians.
There you go.
Yeah.
No, we're
It's not politically correct here, is that it?
We're in the inverted Australian lanes. Again, the reason being is that Supermassive are looking for the last standing outer tower. It's going to be the easiest one to siege up, but they will need assistance from Naru. Naru's TP is just about to come up. So again, we talk about kind of windows of opportunity where teams are able to make TP plays, and they've actually been mismatched fairly recently, but Saigon Joker is unable to pull the trigger while they had the advantage, and it's now evened up as Scuffle breaks out. There's one.
Well, Stomage is instantly regretting his decision to quick draw into 4 people with the TP coming out from Levita. He didn't choose to cancel.
Remember, Naru is the shot caller for Supermassive. The confidence to say, the TP is coming, I'm not following it up, because he had the opportunity to. They get the clean disengage. That's one summoner down. They can look to make another teleport play and open up this map.
I don't feel like Stomage should have gone away with that, though. Like, dashes forwards, gets hit by binding, and it's just like, I'm just going to walk away now. That's fine. Top tower goes down, and Supermassive, I feel, just got away with murder. And Levita, with that TP down, now Naru and Faldrin have that advantage. So, again, tempo in Supermassive's favor. They have the gold lead, they have the tower lead, they have the dragon lead.
And now they kind of need to reset their map. So you talk about the double TP. Thaldrin right now is 1v1 against the Scuttle Crab, probably the most epic battle that he's going to have is Maokai. You immediately see that Chu and Dumbledoge have been moved to the bottom side of the map because you're looking for dragon control, so you need to move your Callista down there, and more importantly, your numbers advantage. We'll see Thaldrin go back up to the top lane, and it's now a question of, can Thaldrin match across from Ro in a 1v1 lane assignment and start creating pressure where they can continue to pull the Saigon Jokers around the map?
Right now, Stomage, Dumbledoge, going to tag team down this dragon. That goes over. That will be the second dragon of the game to Supermassive. So remaining with control and trying to get some deep vision now in the bottom jungle. And
get him.
Get it.
Slap him.
Get in there, Ro. Naru, he just wants to farm. Ro's going to sneak in. I mean, there's no vision here. This is Supermassive completely blind. And with Celebrity and Su coming in, this could be a good setup onto Naru. Carry on. That was incredibly anticlimactic. Like, 3 people in the bottom lane.
And they know, too. It's because they have no idea where Fizz is, but they suspect, which is why Thaldrin's also kind of hiding into Fog of War there. So, again, you can see it's these small little things that Supermassive are really working together as a team and communicating across map just by kind of their micro-positioning.
Yeah, and also because of the vision game as well, they can just infer where the rest of the members are from the Saigon at all times. Row back into the top lane, still farming up a Storm, and taking this one away. Jinx is like, now even my own team is counter-jungling me.
Check out Naru right now. That was super cute. There was a lot of mind games going over, but he was actually spotted out by a ward from Su. But he's on the hunt. He's on the prowl. Again, they're using the double teleport. They've now moved them out into the 2 side lanes. They've got their duo lane in the bottom, so just making sure that they're not splitting farm between Chu and Naru, that they're allocating resources to both carries. Saigon Jokers might see this window, though.
Dumbledoge's coming in and knocks Levita away, looking for that rabbit to come out, but didn't connect.
Again, the confidence to say, we have the TP, we're not pulling the trigger, keep them busy, we're taking a tower, just disengage. And that's the power of this Poppy pick, and while Dumbledoge has been so successful with it, re-engage.
Faldrin gets bound up by Su. Ro coming in from the side as well. Dumbledoge's looking to slow them down. Hammer Shock. Faldrin coming in, pops the ultimate. Ro's in there by himself. He needs support from his team, but he's not going to get it just yet. Faldrin with the kill, and there's the ultimate coming across from Stomage. Levita's jumping away, and that was a 2-for-0 over the Supermassive.
And frankly, the gold disparity is starting to speak for itself in these team fights for Saigon Jokers. They just can't keep up in Stomage.
He actually saw him as well because he got into the bush and was just like,
But they pick up the kill,
Alas.
they pick up the team fight, they're going to pick up another objective. That's 2 forms of global tower gold that they haven't spent yet. So this is Saigon Joker's moment to strike. If they want to win a team fight, it has to be right now.
And the siege continues. I mean, look at this wave
They have
clear
to
from
go.
Saigon. I mean, they just don't have any. And Celebrity, he's kind of trying to get in there, but they don't really have a tank. Levita, when your Kassadin is your main form
Rose
of
gonna
engage,
teleport.
this is just such a big problem. But does he have those TP wards? A lot of pings going down, but they're just saying, no, it's too far away. And, like, there's nothing we can do right here. And this is a major problem with Saigon's draft. No wave clear, they're getting pushed in. There's nothing they can do if they get pushed like that. And they don't have solid engage. Like, it's based off of Kassadin jumping in there and force pulsing.
No, you're absolutely right. The flank potential isn't there. Teleport having to come out in response to Naru.
This is a little dicey, but Levita is going to have to jump away.
So risky.
Yeah.
Okay.
but-
So Supermassive may have overstayed their welcome there. They did almost burn that inhib tower, which would have been worth, but we were talking about, okay, they haven't spent the global gold, so Saigon Jokers realized we're actually stronger than them because they just killed us, so we got back to base before them and ran back. Fortunately, Supermassive didn't make the greater mistake of allowing Ro to get the TP gank off. Again, pings were going down mad. Ro was up in 8 seconds. I'm going to find that flank. They managed to utilize the TP to stall off and to make sure that they lose nothing response, but they need to clean that up. Like, as much as I'm like, yes, Supermassive, you got away with that, that was awesome, it was almost a little bit too greedy for that mid-tier tower.
I think they can play greedy in this game, though, because if Ro, even if he gets a flank engage, he doesn't really have CC, so he's going to jump in. It's like, oh, I'm dead. Because that's exactly what happened in the last fight. He just went in from the front door, and it's just like, oh.
The front door. Excellent. He does have a bit more damage this time around, though, because he's got kind of his core itemization set up. Still just waiting on that Spirit Massage, but has the Iceborne Gauntlet, has the Sunfire Cave, and especially as kind of this 26-point minute in the game. Fizz is still, I mean, he's still Fizz. He's not, like, dropped off entirely.
Yeah, he didn't stop being Fizz in the last 27 minutes. That is true. There you can see Fizz. Got Stone Mage sitting up the tower, but I mean, Saigon just being pushed in, and it's hard for them to make a play because this is a composition that needs to be ahead.
They don't have the tools to make the plays, like you said.
Exactly, and this is just a horrible situation to be in. And if you're Saigon, are you looking at like the next games now, or are you just reevaluating what happened in the draft? I mean, I don't feel like they could do a lot in this game.
You still have Kassadin, you still have Celebrity on Lucian, so you're effectively waiting for Supermassive to make a mistake and for Levitia to go off.
Ro lands the ultimate. I don't think even he realized that was going to land. Dumbledore's once again with great ultimate. And again, Ro separated from his team. Urchin strikes away. But Achu, everyone just left him out to dry. But this is a great flank re-engage. Jinky's going to go down here. Ro's going to be backing away. And only Achu goes down. And Dumbledore wants him, but the rest of the team looking for an objective.
Saigon Jokers have the tools to dive the back line as Ro. Does he have E?
Yes, he does, but
the great Fizz escape. They should actually just go for Baron.
yeah, I mean, there's no smite now from Saigon Jokers. Dumbledore, he's looking for this engage. I'm just going to 1v1 the top lane. This is okay. This is not okay. Lovida, he's going to jump into this pit, but look at that damage, doesn't have any. And the intense 1v1 continues. Dumbledore is still the support, but this is so close. Lovida now coming in to this Baron. And, I mean, Dumbledore's died, and Bro's actually still pretty healthy, forging with the Q. But this should be an easy smite. There we go, over the Stone Mage. This is a 3 versus 2. Ro goes down. Levi's going to be jumping away. Maybe he could have just sacrificed himself and jumped on Naru, but he might actually be able to... nope, he's not getting away. Faldrin with the last second on Twisted Advance and finds the kill.
Really unfortunate timing for Kassadin there. Gets the Riftlock while the W is in cast animation, so it takes him all the way. Again, Saigon Jokers, their composition, fairly the draft phase isn't being as executed as cleanly as it needs to. Yes, they have backline dive threats with Kassadin and Fizz, Elise even, but they don't have the CC needed to hold this Kalista down. You have to find the binding, you have to find the cocoon, and it's so hard when she's martial posing around these fights. So yeah, Achu was left very much exposed, where he effectively got collapsed on by all the Saigon Jokers, but because they don't have the Maokai, which acts as the #1 counter for Kalista, and remember it was the priority pick, you can't lock her down, you can't kill her fast enough to deal with how far ahead Supermassive have gotten.
Saigon just got put in the mousetrap there. It's just like, yeah, you can have a tube, but then we're just going to kill your entire team, take Baron. And Supermassive are just in such a commanding position now. Like, this game is... It's not done, but it's very close to being done in this game, realistically.
The important thing is the fact that 3 Baron buffs survived, which means they can apply it to all 3 lanes if they choose to.
Mid tower goes down, finally broken that base. Good binding onto Stone Mage, and that will just be the continuous CC, but he's going to laugh it off, and now he backs away, inhibitor going down, and I mean, Supermassive can just rinse and repeat in the bottom lane, because Saigon, they still don't have wave clear. That's not going to change throughout this game. So another siege will come out with these Baron minions, and Supermassive, they can just play it slow.
And this is a big issue with Kassadin compositions in general, is that if they ever fall behind, because wave clear is so necessary in a structure-focused meta, your towers split.
Oh, Naru going in! There's the W. The ultimate crushes everyone on Saigon, and Rose also going to be caught out. He's going to jump in, try and get the kill onto Stone Mage. Got the support of Lovita, who will come out there and come up big with that one kill. But with the rest of the team of Supermassive closing in, this should be the first game.
This is devastation for Saigon Joker. Supermassive, clinical game, brilliant game. Naru in particular, we talked about how he usually trades his life for... I mean, he's going to go in anyway, so it feels like Lissandra works perfectly for him because he goes in, he frozen tombs himself, he hits the hourglass. Beautiful.
Ro is going to try and get to the back lines, but in this 1 versus 3, because Celebrity, he just can't get in range to help. Q lands out from Naru and chunks the health bar, and that is the entire team going down for the ace. The first Nexus turret, the second one. Dumbledore's also getting that 1v1 on Jinky, as we saw just earlier. And with this Nexus going down, this will be the first game over to Supermassive.
Brilliantly played from Supermassive. They had control from level 1. Again, the really hard invade onto Jinky there. 3 buffing him. Jinky did manage to not get 4 buff, but it was effectively just a consolation prizes. You see Supermassive on your screen here. Some smiles, but they are still all business. Best of 5, got 3 games to go.
Yep, nothing went well for Saigon Jokers in that game, but everything went well for Supermassive. They just played it perfectly, and not only did that come from Champion Select, but also in-game. Like, as you mentioned, getting triple buffed, and then top lane Faldrin actually going even if not ahead of top lane, where Rose has been crushing everyone. Bot lane, Dumbledore managed to contain himself and not roam, which was good to see with the adaptation, and stop Celebrity from getting out of control. Everyone just played well, and I feel the preparation just in general was better from Supermassive.
The keyword that you had there was adaptation, and it was a very clear-cut plan into draft phase. You had a lot of denial picks from both teams, but also the adjustments to taking the Maokai, having the Callista, making sure that Celebrity was neutralized by keeping Double Doge in a 2v2 as opposed to getting that roam there. So just brilliantly played from start to finish from Supermassive, and a very well-earned first initial victory.
For sure. I'd really like to see adaptation now coming in from Saigon Jokers, because I mean, that was adaptation, but it wasn't good adaptation, I'll be honest. Like, seeing the Fizz come out, seeing the Kassadin as well. But either way, we're going to send it now over to the Alansters to take a look at the game.
Thank you very much, Paulson. That's actually the perfect place to start there. We'll see what did happen here in the draft especially, because there were some differences that we may not have expected here for the first game. Boys, break it down. Once again, joined by Carbon and Soul Strikes. This draft was just curious.
I mean, curious is one word for it. I'd use a few other choice words. But I think the big thing here is that, first of all, Saigon Jokers need to start respecting the Graves. We said during the draft that they don't seem to care about it at all. They let it go through in almost every game. They just are happy to pick Gragas or whatever and just let the other team play Graves. This is why you ban Graves, because Stone Mage had an amazing game. At the same time, we did think that Jinky played pretty well in response.
Yep. And it's just the power of the Graves. Like, he capitalized the early invades, then he actually went mid and got the chip damage on the tower. And meanwhile, on the Jinky, he got chunked out. So he had to go back and go check his blue. But his blue also got taken. So Jinky did manage to come back and get some ganks, but the Grave was just a powerhouse.
I mean, I do want to point out, and that's a little bit what I was alluding to, is that Jinky had an excellent response to the invade from Gragas. I mean, Graves, obviously took the red, took the blue. But Jinky saw him on the pink, instantly knew that his entire topside jungle was warded and walked all the way around. Went straight back into his base, all the way around back to top, and somehow manages to pull off First Blood again, which now puts him at 6 First Bloods out of his 8 games. So I thought that was an amazing response from Jinky, but yeah, the Graves was so strong.
Yeah, it certainly was. And I mean, in general, the draft was just looking a little interesting from the Saigon Joker side and very standard from the Supermassive side. Fizz and Kassadin were not the picks we may have expected, and Morgana as well, I think, were the standout picks for you guys as far as differences were concerned. Like, obviously, Celebrity and Jinky were sort of playing what we expect them to, but what do we think of maybe the 3 wildcard picks here?
Okay, well, we'll start from the top. I think Fizz was actually really good. I spoke in the pre a little bit about how their mid lane actually doesn't get much farm, and that's because their top lane always takes it. Their top lane gets a lion's share of the farm. It doesn't matter if he's playing Maokai or anything, he's always taking farm. So I actually quite like the Fizz because I figure if he's going to get farm, he might as well be on something that can carry. He had a good lane phase. He got the good early gank off. I think it was 4-1 at one stage. You saw him 3v1 Callista. When they tried to come top to trade for that top tower, Fizz just went straight in, killed Callista, and got out. So I thought the Fizz was actually quite a good pick. I think where it really fell apart was Kassadin and their lack of wave clear.
Yeah, and like I said at the beginning of the game, like if Saigon Jokers did manage to pull out the control mage, he probably felt like, oh, I'm just gonna get dove over and over again, so I might as well play some like a mobility champ, like Kassadin. So they did like the wave clear. They did lose the mid tower very early into the game, so that's what cost the game.
Well, certainly a strong-looking first game there from the Supermassive side. We'll see if they can pick it up again as they move into game 2. Don't go too far. We'll be back with the second one right after the break.